your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That's brand new stuff from the band Sonata Arctica. The name of that song was Whirlwind. It's from the TALVIYO release. And on the line right now, we have the vocalist on that song and all the other great songs on this new release. It is Tony Kakko. Tony, how are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you, Chris?
I am great, man. It's always good when Sonata Arctica has new music out, man. You guys have, if nothing else, you guys have stood the test of time, and you've basically never put out a bad release, man.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really happy you think that way.
Well,
I agree with you.
well, you know, I mean, Tony, obviously I can't be the only one because you guys have had a long career at this point, and you're still going stronger than ever, and you're touring the world more and more. So it just seems like the band gets stronger as you go along, no?
Well, yeah, it's a day job. It's a passion that we have, and this is what we do. Music has chosen us, and we didn't actually choose music as our profession. It just turned out this way. It started as a hobby, and then we got a recording contract, and we are traveling the world, and we don't have time to go to work or study anymore, and
Right.
we are making a living with this thing, and we are really fortunate in that way that we actually are where we are doing what we do, and don't have to do anything else.
Sure.
So yeah.
No question. Well, you guys do have a brand new album. It's am I saying this right? Because I don't speak Finnish. Is it TALVIYO?
Close enough, yeah. It was almost as a joke when we named this album as TALVIYO, which means winter night in Finnish, or in English, of course. And it was, my first idea was to have just talvi, which means winter.
Okay.
That the guys thought that it was really boring, and as a joke, I threw that TALVIYO. It's going to be hell of a difficult for a lot of outside
Right.
Finlanders, pronounce it, and so it is.
Are you getting a lot of people that are just saying, well, it's TALVIYO or TALVIYO?
I've heard a lot of different versions. Some even actually surprisingly close to the Finnish way of saying it. But,
Sure. Well, Tony, let's talk about this record. It's for people that are fans of what you do, it fits right in there. But you guys did take some chances on it. I mean, there's some definite unique takes to a lot of the songs, and it just sounds like you guys were in a, I don't want to say more creative mood, but maybe a different creative mood than on past releases. So talk about it for you as as somebody that created it. How was it different creating this one from past releases?
It was somewhat liberating for me as a songwriter. I've been, of course, compiling the ideas on the years, and early last year, 2018, I started actually putting the songs together, and I just, I basically let the songs write themselves. Mm-hmm. I just created music that sounds good to my ear and surprises me, makes me feel something, and sounds exhilarating and fun. Something that I really want to do, and didn't think what outsiders, other people would think. Just wanted to please myself. And of course, that leads to the fact that there are some probably a little bit surprising elements there. But I think during the years, people have learned to expect the unexpected also from Sonata Arctica. We've had such weird albums sometimes, like Unia, and then, Stone Screw Her Name, for example, which was a step in a totally different direction once again. But with these last three albums, I think we've stayed pretty much solid, recognizable Sonata Arctica.
Sure. Is that part of the appeal to doing it now, is to challenge yourself creatively so that you don't feel like you know what I mean? A lot of bands, they make music to sound like their past work instead of continually being creative and continually taking chances. Is that part of the draw for you to keep doing it, is to keep pushing the envelope and keep going further and being more and more creative?
Partially, yeah. But of course, I sometimes go back and listen to the back catalog to old Sonata Arctica albums and try to see and find and understand what was so good about them,
Sure.
what people loved about them, and try to even recreate some of those things or the feelings that I might have had back in the day. And that's even a challenge. Of course, 20 years later, I'm 20 years older,
Right.
surprisingly. So I'm a different person. I've grown a lot, and it's sometimes really difficult to get inside the head of this 20-something-year-old guy,
Sure.
age 44 right now. So it's and I have a lot of ideas dating back to 1990. That's when I got my first 4-track recording device, and so it's a lot of really fun to go back and listen to some of the demos that I have from there, because they are so different from anything that I could even think of these days.
Sure.
So yeah, but yes, yeah,
do you,
you're right.
Do you ever listen back to the old stuff as you're writing new stuff, and then maybe try to write more to how your voice has changed? Because it has changed a little bit over the years.
Yeah, of course, 20 years does things when you're doing this for a living, touring and singing and just, getting older, but I just, write songs that feel right. And then, it's a matter of finding the right key to sing in. And the early stuff, like the first few albums, I was singing way above my natural range.
Right.
It didn't really suit me. I was screaming, and it was a nightmare to do a lot of the songs live. I'm a tenor or baritone sometimes even, and I just had a really, and still have a wide range that I can use. But if I want to enjoy what I'm doing, what I have now on this TALVIYO album, that's the closest to my natural singing range, and I can use it. I can use my instrument much more versatile way.
Sure, absolutely.
When I sing, use my own range instead
Right.
of screaming. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Well, Tony. One of the things that I actually watched the trailers that Nuclear Blast put out for the new record as it was coming, and one of the things that I thought was really interesting was that you were writing lyrics as the songs were coming together instead of waiting for the music and then being handed the music and then writing lyrics. Did that put a lot of pressure on yourself creatively to kind of write on the fly like that?
Well, yeah, of course, but that's the way I do it. I always have the music ready. And then, when the guys are recording the songs, I usually start writing the lyrics and suppose I need to have the pressure and some kind of schedule deadline to meet, but don't give me a deadline. Don't give me time, give me a deadline. That works with me perfectly. I write songs constantly, and the music part comes easy. There's nothing to it. It's just enjoying myself, having fun. But lyrics, that's the difficult part, and I agonize over the lyrical content always. But I'm really jealous about the lyrics as well, and I don't. I want to do it myself. I don't want to outsource it anywhere, and have anybody else write what I say.
Sure,
basically.
Definitely. Now, mentioning that, it was noted, or it has been noted, that you worked with an outside producer this time. Was that a different experience for you guys?
Well, yeah, that was the closest thing to an outsider that we can possibly have, because Mikko Tegelman, he's our front of house sound guy, the sound engineer. So we've been working with him since 2012, I think. Okay. And so we know him really well, and he knows the band. And already with a couple of the previous albums, we have tried desperately to get more natural live type sound on the albums, but never really got there, because we always get praised that we sound so really great live, but something lacks on the studio releases, and we've been trying to fix that. And already with previous album, we were supposed to have Mikko as our co-producer there on the album, but it was a nightmare schedule-wise, the whole album process, so it was impossible to introduce him to the project. But now, this time, I had all the songs ready months before we actually entered the studio, so it was easy to bring Mikko in and have him there to kind of help us make the whole thing sound more organic and live-like. Partially, at least, and then we approached the whole thing the way that we played the drums and the bass live in the same room, because that's the rhythmic bass, the foundation of the album. And if you play those organically together in the same space, it gives the whole album more natural feel. And it's doesn't matter how many overdubs you do with other instruments on top of it, the feel of the album stays live-like.
Sure. It definitely does. And you could hear it throughout the record. You know, the one song that I wanted to point to, not necessarily because it sounds the most organic, but just because it's probably the best sounding song maybe that you've ever done, is Storm the Armada. What a great song from you guys, man. And, you know, I was curious, what is the story behind that one? Because that is it's a deeper song, but it's a great song.
No, thanks very much. I wish it was one of the singles, but it's unfortunately not. Would have made a great video. I started writing it as a sort of, Amaranth, the band.
Right.
So when I started flirting around, I think with the music, it was, I think the demo name was originally Amaranth something. Sometimes I've had like Nightwish something songs and whatever, and which they for some reason remind me of Nightwish, or in this case Amaranth. So it started like that, but then turned into something totally different. And it's definitely one of the heavier songs, I think, on the album.
Sure.
And lyrically, if you wonder what it's about, it's basically about how we are destroying everything around us. Because of greed, we are selling things that we cannot buy back or aren't ours to sell, and destroying the possibility of our offspring to have a lot of things that we have enjoyed and had here naturally without any problem. And then, like in this case, I put in moon. That you can go and destroy the moon if you like. We have the capability of doing that as human beings, unfortunately, and I just hope nobody goes and does that. And it's a deeper song in that sense, and it's in same kind of league or pack, or it's connected with Who Failed the Most and Demon's Cage. They all talk about the same environment versus political choices that we make.
Sure. Do you as a as a human being, do you see that there is any way to change it, or any way that it could possibly get fixed? The world at large, I mean.
Only if the world sort of starts fixing itself, meaning that we need to have some sort of huge natural disaster that wakes everybody up and puts everything in the right order, in the sense that what is really important becomes really important again, instead of just money.
Right. Yeah. No. I gotta say, Tony, I'm with you. I honestly think the only way it could get solved is the way that it solved the dinosaurs, with a big asteroid hitting and starting over.
Exactly. But everybody always hopes that it's not you that it hits.
Right. Exactly. Well, Tony, you guys are you getting ready, or are you already out? I know you guys have just a huge amount of tour dates, both in Europe and here in the USA. Is this the largest, touring cycle you've had for a release?
No, I think that's pretty much the same with the previous album, and it was too much. We were supposed to have a really relaxed tour start, but this is how it always goes. We have 2 tours, long tours, one after another, and then only a short break in between. Right. And currently, I'm actually sitting at home in my small cottage here, and staring at the fire, trying to have 2 weeks off before we head out.
Okay.
So, we had the last summer festivals last weekend, the previous weekend here. So.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of this. Having long tours like this and consecutive long tours, that's pretty rare in today's environment. I mean, a lot of bands wish they could have that much interest in what they're doing and that many shows. Yeah,
well, that's the thing here. When you have a new album out, you should be out there doing it. And we really want to come to North America and tour there. That's a lot of fun to do. And then Europe, in large, it's a big market for us, obviously. So it's a must. We have to go there to kind of support the release, obviously. And it's a thing that you have to do and you want to do as well.
Sure.
Both.
Definitely.
There are a lot of things that you would skip if you could, but you can't. But touring and having shows and meeting the people and talking with people is not one of them.
Right. What is better for you as as a performer, playing a solo show in front of fans that are all yours, but it's a smaller show, or playing one of these massive festivals like a Wacken as an example?
They're both fun, but if I had to choose one, either which one I would like to do, and then it's obviously the normal Sonata Arctica smaller show, because they are more intimate and you're playing with and to your own people basically, so you get much more emotions and feelings out of those own shows. They are more rewarding in a sense, but obviously the festivals are the best way of reaching a lot of new people. Sure. In one go, having 1 hour show or whatever, and having like in Wacken Open Air, almost 100,000 people there, and you might have like tens of thousands of people who have never even heard of you. Sure. The new metal people or whatever, and they're both good, but I would choose my own shows, obviously.
Sure. I'm curious, and I know you've played Wacken a few times. How does that even work? I mean, here in the States, we don't have anything like that where I watched a bunch of it this year online. I watched probably 15 acts. Like I really got into the whole thing. But I mean, 2:00 in the afternoon, and there's people as far as you can see all the way back. It's just a crazy environment for metal, man. I just wonder, why is Europe so different and so supportive of metal versus here, where it's such a trend, more of a trendy, trend jumping thing?
Wacken, it collects people all over the world, and in Europe, obviously, we have many nations there, many nationalities, people. Sure. Coming in, and every country has their own metal scene, and everybody comes to Wacken Open Air. And I don't know, maybe it's something we eat or drink, or maybe it's but the taste in music, it's probably more metal, and I have a feeling that in North America and USA, for example, it's the metal you guys listen, it's more hardcore than what we have. We sort of enjoy the variety. Sure. And it's a sort of brotherhood of metal that it's okay if you like power metal and you're standing next to a bunch of black metal people. It's all good. Right. But there's no problem there. And then it's a great uniting factor that you're all into the same really, really loose genre of music.
Sure. Well, I wish that it would come here, because it's exactly like you're saying. Black metal people don't like new metal people, and people that like Korn don't like Metallica, and whatnot. It's just such a fractured thing, and I'm one of these all kinds of music guys. I can listen to rap and metal and country and rock. It doesn't matter,
Yeah, me too.
And it's really frustrating as a music fan when you try to share music with people, and just trying to show them something that you think they would enjoy, and they immediately label it because, well, it's not the kind of whatever that I listen to. It just seems limiting.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm totally with you with this. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Tony, you guys are obviously going to be out for a long time. You've got this brand new album. Why don't, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track for the interview, maybe tell us a quick story about it. So what would you like us to wrap this interview up with?
Wow. Let's choose a song that you will probably not play too much live, won't play it live much, and at this point, and you're not going to play it in your show anyways. And it's the song called "Last of the Lambs" from our latest album. If you meant that I would choose a song from our own
absolutely.
album.
Absolutely.
I'll choose that one. It's continuing the Caleb saga that's been going on since our second album, Silence, the end of this chapter thing. And it's a sort of stalker story with a weird twist. And nobody dies here, and it's a song with great atmosphere and feel. Right. I hope you come and enjoy different kind of feels with us on our live shows in North America.
Excellent.
Really soon.
Excellent. Well, let's check it out right now. It is Sonata Arctica, and it is, what was the name of this one, Tony?
Last of the Lambs.
All right, it's Last of the Lambs right here on your Classic Metal Show.